Good evening, Facebook Live. Apostle Terrence Lyons, Ecclesia Ministries here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Trying to get some action going here. We're going to get it going one way or another. Give me just a minute, get some things set up here. Make sure what's happening. If you can still hear me good, let me know. My screen is acting up on my phone, so I want to make sure that excuse me, everything is doing what it needs to do, getting where it needs to get. So it sounds good. I just want to make sure everything's going like it needs to go. Like I said, phone's wanting to act up, but I've got my other screen, so that's one of the other advantages. That's why I wanted to do everything the way that I've been seeking to do it. So we're gonna make it happen. So once my screen gets unstuck on my phone, we'll definitely keep it going, which, like I said, right now we're rolling good anyway. So good evening to everybody. Miss Kim, Miss Melissa, Miss Tanisha, Ronnie. Glad to have everybody on. So, like I said, at least y'all know I can see exactly who's on now. So I want to go ahead and get stirred up here. Hopefully everything that's in place will actually show. One thing I can't see is where where what I posted as far as the question, if it's actually up there. But the question that I got for tonight is, are you focused on the purpose of what you're doing? Which is by no coincidence that my phone decided to freeze up. So it's just checking to see, are you going to be focused on what you're doing? Are you focused on the purpose of what you're doing? Are you going to be zeroed in on what you're doing? Because, again, if a distraction comes in, you have to determine, am I going to stick to the course of what I got going on? And it's going to help you understand a whole lot more of what's been going on in this season. One of the biggest things that I want you to understand is since the 19th, happened a couple of days ago, and the fire dwindled down some. Calmed down just a little bit. It didn't calm all the way down, but it calmed down a little bit, and now you've began to reassess some things, and you realize that there's going to be some things that are designed to actually be changed, and it's going to require for you to go to a different level. And I want you to get this, because the biggest thing that we need to see is this. As you are adjusting to the new level that you've got to go to, there are going to be things that are going to try you like never before. So watch this, because I want you to get this. I want to start out in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. This was a place where I had you all to look at. And the thing I want you to get is this. In Joshua chapter 1, verses 1 through 5, it says, "Now, after the death of Moses," watch this, "the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses my servant is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast." Now watch this. "There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee, and will not fail thee, nor forsake thee." Alright. Now, the thing I want you to get out of this is, if you look there in verse 5, watch this. "There shall not any man be able to withstand you." So some of y'all got tried this week. Some stuff came at you. We all had some different adjustments. And what was required out of you in the moment was for you to stay cool right here. Because again, we're still dealing with your mind and the fingerprint. It was required for you to stay cool right here, so that everything that you've done to leave your fingerprint was going to glorify God. Now here's why I need you to understand this, because this is why this is so crucial. Everything that you're doing right now is connected to your purpose. I said everything that you're doing right now is connected to your purpose. The reason that I need for you to understand that is because, watch this, it's setting your new foundation after the fire. It's setting your new foundation after the fire. See, every time that fire takes place, it burns up some stuff, but it leaves some stuff. And see, you have some stuff left now that you have to build upon. you have some stuff left now that you got to build upon. See, what I need for you to get is this. Right here in verse 2 of Joshua 1. Watch this. It says, "Moses, my servant, is dead." See, some stuff got burnt up and some people got left. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit later, but I need for you to understand this. Some stuff got burnt up and some stuff got left. So watch this. It says, "Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel." Now here's why I need for you to understand this, because Joshua's in a funny position. A lot of people don't talk about how this actually works, but I want to help clarify it for you now. When he says the place the land which I do give to them, he didn't say to y'all. See, Joshua's in this picture too, but he doesn't say to y'all. He says to them. See, and truth be told, sometimes you're having to lead people into something that's for them, even though it's not per se for you. It's going to serve you because you're serving them, but it's not per se for you. See, and what I got to get you to understand is you've got to get to the place that you're comfortable enough to help somebody else get to their stuff, even if it ain't for you in the moment. See, and that's why I have to do what I do the way that I do it, because a lot of times I'm helping people get to their personal destiny while I'm still working on my personal destiny. That even though they're not per se directly connected together because they're not all leading to the same place, then I've got to understand that my job is to help build the individual more so than I'm to be worried about getting to where the individual's going. Okay. Here's what I need you to watch. In verse 3, he tells them, first off, I want you to go to the land that I gave them. Then he says in verse 3, every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. So watch this. So I'm going to help you get them to where they need to be, and then everywhere you go, I'm going to give that to you to manage. Watch this, because ain't nobody else got the capacity to manage it. A lot of the stuff that you're dealing with right now, you having to deal with it because ain't nobody else got the capacity to manage it. See, watch this, because I need you to get this. Everything that you're designed to function by right now, that there's a purpose to it. Everything that you're doing right now, especially since this past Monday, going into Tuesday, watch this. Everything that you're partaking of right now is playing a part in your personal purpose, even though it probably looks like it has nothing to do with your purpose. Watch this. It looks like no one has the capacity, no one has the same focus, no one has the same anything about what you're doing like you have it. So this is what I want you to get, because this is vital. Everything has a purpose. The question is, do you know its purpose, and are you focused on that purpose? Everything has a purpose. The question is, do you know its purpose, and are you focused on that purpose? So everything that you're doing, see the jobs that you all have in the corporate world, you're doing some different stuff on them right now. You're adjusting, and you're doing something totally different than you were probably last week, probably last month, probably last year. So since you're doing something different on it now, it's not so much that you need to be asking, should I be doing this? You need to be doing it. You're supposed to be doing it, even if it ain't for the company. Even if it ain't for the company that you're supposed to be doing it, you're doing it for the purpose that's in you. doing it for the purpose that's in you, so watch this. Since you're doing it for the purpose that's in you, then you need to understand what that purpose is so that you can focus on it and become who you need to be in that purpose. All right, let's go. See, I want you to go now to Hebrews 13 and verse 5. Hebrews 13 and verse 5. I'm going to read verse 5 through 9. This is another one of the scriptures that I had you read. Because again, I need for you to understand, are you focused on the purpose of what you are doing? See, whatever work you're having to do right now, no matter how different it is from the work that you used to do, no matter how different it is than what you were doing, it's got a purpose. And you need to be focused on that purpose, because this is what's going to help, watch this, your mind and your fingerprint in the outcome. So I need for you to get this. Like I said, everything has a purpose. The question is, do you know its purpose, and are you focused on that purpose? So in Hebrews chapter 13, verses 5 through 9, watch this. Hebrews chapter 13, verses 5 through 9 says this. Watch this. This is vital. Hebrews 13, verses 5 through 9 says this. Watch this. It says, let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as you have. I can't tell y'all how vital this is. Be content with what you have. See, this is what I need for you to get. Before I go any further, I got to stop right here. What you got to understand is when you've been praying for God to do one thing, and it might not even be a bad thing that you was praying for him to do. You've been praying to God for him to do that one thing for you, and you kind of give it its time frame, you give it its timeline, and you get to that time frame and that timeline, and he don't do that thing. And he doesn't do that thing. See, that's why this is why you got to be honest about your prayers. This is why you got to be honest about your outcomes. This is why you got to be honest about those things, because if it don't happen during the deadline that you were after, okay, if it don't take place, then what you've got to understand is you need to realize that there is another way that God's wanting to get it done. It might not mean for you to keep trying to pray that same prayer to get that thing. He might be trying to show you, hey, what you already got will take care of what you're praying to me for. What you already got, watch this, might already be able to take care of what you praying to me for. But you've got to understand how that works. You've got to understand that if it didn't work out for what you were praying for, especially when it don't happen in the time frame that you was wanting it to happen in, then that's where you've got to stop and say, okay, what I got, there must be some way for this to work out with what I got. So let me reevaluate. Let me see if there's not another purpose that I need to be. So I hope you got that. I hope you see that. Because watch this. It says, let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. What you already got. Watch this. For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. So, if he says, I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee, then what I have is enough. I just got to learn how to work what I got. See, the one thing about being in here, I ain't got enough room to go back and do everything like I want to do. You just got to learn how to work what you got. Watch this, with who's with you. You just got to learn how to work what you got with who's with you. See, this is why this is so vital. If he told you, I will never leave you, I will never forsake you, then you got a team with you right now that can take care of anything. see, watch this. Watch this. Somebody type this in. Me plus what I got plus who's with me is more than enough. Me plus what I got plus who's with me is more than enough. I just got to learn how it all works together. That's my job. That's what I got to do right now. I got to look and see, how does all of this work together? How does all of this function in such a way that I don't even need what I was praying for in this moment? I need to know how to rework what I've already got in this moment. Woo! Watch this. For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Verse 6. So that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do to me. Watch this. Verse 7 through 9. Remember them that have the rule over you, who have spoken unto you the word of God. And this verse right here, this is why I take stuff so seriously when I'm preaching it. Now I laugh and I cut up and I do a bunch of stuff. I sip my water. I do all of that stuff. But when it comes to ministering this word to help you and your life get better, I am dead serious on that. And this verse right here is one of the main reasons because of it. Because look at what it says. Remember them which have the rule over you, who have spoken unto you the word of God, whose faith follow. So in other words, you're supposed to be following my faith. That's what's supposed to be happening. So I'm supposed to be your living example in front of you of how to live by faith in the circumstances and the situations that's taking place in everybody's life. I'm supposed to be that example. I'm supposed to be the one that everybody looks at. And I ain't got no problem with that. Because watch what else it says. Whose faith follow, considering the end of their conversation. So what you hear me talking about, what you hear me speaking about, what you hear me saying and speaking in faith, I'm supposed to be that example to you. And he's saying, follow that example. Follow that example because I got them in front of you to show you how to work with me. Watch this. He then said, Jesus Christ, the same yesterday and today and forever. Verse 9. Be not carried about with divers and strange doctrines. This is why I show y'all the word so much. Because I don't want you taking anybody else's take on it. I want you taking what the word says and continually backs up and will continually back up when I'm long gone. But when I show you what he says in his word, and then you watch me live by what I showed you, then that is going to help build your faith about whatever you're looking at, because you taking into account the end of my conversation that I showed you concerning faith. Watch this, because look at what else it said. Be not carried about with divers and strange doctrines, for it is a good thing that the heart be established, with grace. Not with anger, not with revenge, with grace. The heart needs to be established with that. Now here's what I need you to get by that. Because watch this. That the heart be established with grace, not with meats, which have not profited them that have been occupied therein. So not with the stuff that can change, not with the stuff that can adjust, but with grace. The grace that's been given to us for us to be able to partake of all of the things that we partake of. That's what our hearts need to be established with. Why? Because when our mind and our fingerprint have to be put into play, they need to be, watch this, leaving grace on the scene. Here's what I need you to get. Because remember, everything has a purpose. The question is, do you know its purpose, and are you focused on that purpose? So when I'm showing you faith, when I'm showing you what I show you, and then I tell you why I'm showing you that, and then you watch me live that, then that is what I'm wanting to make sure that you get into your mind and into your spirit and begin to function by the same grace by which it was given to me. Okay? By the same grace by which it was given to me, so that then you can get the same results by the same grace being given to you. Because here's what I need you to get out of this. See, not knowing the purpose of what you're doing makes it impossible for you to leave your fingerprint on that specific action. You not knowing the purpose of what you're doing makes it impossible for you to leave your fingerprint on that specific action. So I want you to go to Psalm 127. Psalm 127 verses 1 and 2. I want you to see this. I want you to get this. Because watch this. You being able to do what you need to do based upon following the instructions of he who is with you, he who will never leave you nor forsake you. You following those instructions is what's actually going to establish you in the functioning of your purpose. So here's why I need you to get this. Psalm 127 verse 1 and 2 says this. Psalm 127 verse 1 and 2 says this. Watch this. It says, except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he giveth his beloved sleep. Except the Lord build a house. So in other words, if you don't let him set the blueprint and then follow the instructions that he gave you, you're working in vain. Now here's why I need you to understand that. Because I said, not knowing the purpose, you not knowing the purpose of what you're doing makes it impossible for you to leave your fingerprint on that specific action. Look at what he's trying to show you. He's saying, except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it, except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late. See, some of y'all, all y'all have done is commit to work more on the plan that you had instead of working less and working in conjunction with the plan that he has. Because see, you working more just means you working in vain if you didn't let him set the plan in the first place. Watch this. See, the thing I need for you to understand, and this is where it's about to get rough. This is where some things is about to take a hard turn. I want you to go to 1 Chronicles chapter 12. This is another passage I had you read. We're only going to focus, I had you read 1 through 40. We're only going to focus on verse 32. 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 32. And then you'll understand some stuff by the time I get done with this. 1 Chronicles chapter 12. It's gonna get rough right here. I'm just wanting you to understand. 1 Chronicles chapter 12, and verse 32 says this. First Chronicles chapter 12, verse 32 says this. It says, and the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times, to know what Israel ought to do. The heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their commandment. All right, I'm going to try to act right here, because this particular verse right here is why I exist. And I know it. It's not a question. I don't need anybody else's affirmation. I don't need anybody else's encouragement. Not that I'm against encouragement. That ain't what I'm saying. What I'm wanting you to understand is I know without a shadow of a doubt that the reason that Terrence Lyons walks this earth is because I am following the pattern and the instruction of verse 32, because that's what I was put here for. It's been made crystal clear on multiple occasions of this is why I got you here. So I understand that my part that I have to play is helping to guide everybody that comes to me, no matter where they come from, to let them know what time it is, to let them know what they should be doing at that specific time. That's my job. I am an apostle of time. I know this. I'm not bragging. I'm not boasting. I just know this is what he built me to do. And since I know this is what he built me to do, I know that I have to know how to interact with multiple types of people, multiple ages of people, multiple colors of people, male, female, old, young, rich, poor, doesn't matter. I, being an apostle of time, I gotta know how to interact with everybody that he sends to me. I know that's my purpose. I know that's my call. And I get that. Now I'm driving that part home because I need for you to understand this. All of us have been gifted with an abundance of something. You've been gifted with an abundance of knowledge about something. And you've got it like nobody else has got it. You understand it and you see it like nobody else sees it. You realize and know things just concerning that abundance of things that you're aware of. You recognize and you see stuff in that way. But the issue is this. If you don't understand the purpose of why you have that abundance, the purpose of why you have that abundance of knowledge and information, the purpose of having that mindset and be able to see the things that you see like nobody else sees them. If you don't understand the purpose of that, now you're going to struggle in your mind and you're going to struggle with your fingerprint. Here's why I need you to understand this, and this is vital. Abundance of anything without knowing the purpose will eventually lead to iniquity. Abundance of anything without knowing the purpose will eventually lead to iniquity. So I want you to see something. I want you to go to Psalm 52, verses 1 through 7. Psalm 52, verses 1 through 7. Because I want you to see this. I want you to understand why I'm telling you this. Because I'm telling you this because after you start to recognize what you have in abundance, everybody watching this tonight, you've got something in abundance like nobody else has it. Some of you have an abundance of information, watch this, about what it takes to be restored. Some of you have an abundance of information about what it takes to be healed. Some of you have an abundance of information about things that no one else has an abundance of information about. And you having that abundance of information. Whew. If you didn't know your purpose, you about to learn it. You about to learn it. Because watch this. Remember what I said. Abundance of anything without knowing the purpose will eventually lead to iniquity. What I need for you to get out of this. Because see, this is going to help you to understand how you've watched a bunch of other gifted people not know how to function. Because this is what it exists from. Psalm 52, verses 1 through 7. This is why boasteth thyself in mischief, O mighty man. The goodness of God endureth continually. Thy tongue deviseth mischiefs, like a sharp razor, working deceitfully. Thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Selah. Thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. Now watch verse 5 through 7. It says, God shall likewise destroy thee forever. He shall take thee away, and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place, and root thee out of the land of the living. Selah. Watch verse 6 and 7. The righteous also shall see, and fear, and laugh at him. Lo, this is the man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of riches, and strengthened himself in his wickedness. What that says. Lo, this is the man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengthened himself in his wickedness. Here's why I want you to understand that. Because the abundance of anything without knowing the purpose will eventually lead to iniquity. It will either, watch this, it will either lead to iniquity about the abundance, watch this, or iniquity about the vessel. This is what I need you to get. This is what I need you to get. It will either lead to iniquity about the abundance, or iniquity about the vessel that acquired the abundance. Watch now. Oh, it's on for sure now. It's on for sure. y'all can still hear me and see me. Give me some kind of sign. Let me know you still got sound. Let me know you still got picture. Because my screen just went off on the computer. Phone's still locked up. It's all good. It's been showing me small signs. I can go back to where if all I see is a small sign from y'all, I know what to do. Okay, I see a weekend that popped up. We're going to keep rolling. Because watch this. There's either iniquity about the abundance or iniquity about the vessel that acquired the abundance. Because this is what I need for you to get right here. See, sometimes if you have iniquity about the stuff that you got, then you start thinking, okay, I'm invincible when I got this amount of stuff. But what happens when you ain't got that amount? What happens when you don't have the amount and the abundance of the things there? Are you, what's going on? See, that's the bent thinking. So I want you to go now. Let's go now to Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 10 through 17. I'm telling y'all, are you focused on the purpose of what you're doing? All of this acting up lets me know that I got to make sure that I get you every single thing that he's given me to give you tonight. That lets me know without a shadow of a doubt, somebody is going to get your full breakthrough out of this tonight. Because I will not stop. I will stay focused. I will carry out my purpose because I know what was set for me to do on tonight, on this Thursday night. Everything that is attempting to try to come at it, it's all good. Because one way or another, every piece of information that I got on this piece of paper will get out. It will get out. I promise you that. So Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 10 through 17. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 10 through 17 says this. I'm just having to be a living example in front of y'all right now. That's all that's happening. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verses 10 through 17 says this. It says, when thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Lord thy God for the good land which he hath given thee. Beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, lest when thou hast eaten and art full, hast built goodly houses and dwelt therein, and thy herds and thy flocks multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast multiplied, then thine heart be lifted up, and thou forget the Lord thy God, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, who led thee through the great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock. Watch this. Watch this. So we got action now. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know if we still connected. We still good. Okay. Alright. Because they even tried to take out my screen on my phone too. It's all good. So watch this. Everything. Watch this. Verse 15. Who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and he might prove thee, to do thee good at thy latter end. Watch verse 17. And thou say in thine heart, my power and my might of mine hand hath gotten me this wealth. See, remember what I said. Abundance of anything without knowing the purpose will eventually lead to iniquity. Either iniquity about the abundance or iniquity about the vessel that acquired the abundance. So here he's telling them, beware. Now after you get money in the bank, after the problem that you was praying to me and crying to me for goes away, after you've got the relationship that you wanted, after you have now got the house you wanted, you got the car you wanted, you got the vehicle you wanted, you started that business, you got everything that you was after and everything that you was wanting. After you get that, you got the money in the bank, everything is rolling good, your boo and your shmoo is down with you, and you know it. Don't get there and forget who got you there. That's what he's saying. He said, make sure after you get that abundance of happiness, after you get that abundance of finance, after you get that abundance of everything that you after, don't let iniquity get up here, bent thinking get up here, and cause you to forget about who gave you the power to get the wealth. Get you to forget about who set you up to even be in position for that. He said, don't beware of that. Don't let that get you to a place. You got that position. Now since you done got the position, you act like you don't know how to give God no praise. You act like you don't know how to give God no time. You act like you don't know how to stay focused. Okay. That means that you done lost focus on the purpose of what was supposed to have been happening. And now that you lost focus on the purpose of what should have been happening, now you're in a place that you about to get yourself in trouble. Here's why I need you to get this. Because, watch this. See, the reason that the sons of Issachar are so important, the reason that my position is so important, is because when I know what's supposed to happen in each time, in each block of time, each season, for each particular person that he brings me in contact with, for each particular group that he connects me with, every single thing that he gives me to do, watch this, every single thing that he gives me to do in the time that he gives me to do it, watch this, I know that when I carry that out, every single thing that I'm supposed to do, everything that I'm supposed to function by, everything that's in place for me to help each and every individual that I encounter now has a position, watch this, to make things happen in such a way that advancement happens no matter what opposed. No matter what mindset was messed up, no matter what hindrance tried to happen, no matter what took place. This is what I need you to get. Every single thing is designed for you to overcome it by overcoming this first. You're thinking about it. You're focused on it. You having the wrong focus on it, you having the wrong mindset about it, you having the wrong everything about it, watch this, is all that's actually hindering all of your situations. That's what's going on. That's what's taking place. Here's why I need you to get this. Because watch this. I don't want you thinking that God has a problem with you having abundance. He has no problem with you having abundance. I'm going to show you a couple of scriptures that's going to help prove that. He has no problem with you having abundance. The problem that he has is what you think about abundance in your mind and how you function with it. Here's what I mean. He has no problem with you having abundance. He does have a problem with you having abundance without knowing its purpose and the way by which you attain it. See, because if you don't attain it the right way, now that becomes a problem. Here's what I need you to get. Watch this. I want you to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 9. chapter 5, verses 9 through 20. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 9 through 20. Watch this. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 9 through 20 says this. Ooh, it's finna get good. Finna get real good. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 9 through 20 says this. It says, moreover, the profit of the earth, that's P-R-O-F-I-T. The profit of the earth is for all the king himself. Watch this. Let me stop it. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This is also vanity. See, this one right here, I'm going to try to act right as I'm explaining this, but I need for you to get this. Because, watch this, what your mindset is about what you have abundance of is what's going to make the difference in how you prosper or how you are abased with that abundance. See, don't be abased with the abundance because of your mindset. Somebody type that in. Don't be abased with the abundance because of your mindset. See, because the abundance has a specific purpose that he wants you to have with it. It's not that he ain't wanting you to have it. He wants you to make sure that you got the right mind about it. See, so don't let, watch this, the abundance cause you to be abased because of your mindset about it. This is what I need for you to get out of this. Because if you look there in verse 10, he says, he that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. I'm going to dig into that Saturday, and from that point, whenever I get to that point in Saturday's message, I am telling you now, there will be zero act right about me concerning that specific part of the scripture when I get to it. Because the problem is, there's a lot of people that's got a lot of abundance, and they keep going after the same thing that they have in abundance already. So there's people that's got a lot of money, and they keep going after money. What he's trying to show is, okay, there's people that's got silver, and they will keep going after silver, but that silver still ain't going to satisfy them. I know some people came to mind when I said that. See, what I need for you to get is the abundance of whatever it is that they have the abundance of still ain't going to suffice them. So understanding that that is not what's going to suffice them, you need to know what is going to suffice them, and I'm going to uncover that Saturday. This is what I need for you to get, though, because this is what I want you to see. He says, when goods increase, verse 11, when goods increase, they are increased that eat them. And what good is there to the owners thereof, saving the beholding of them with their eyes? The sleep of a laboring man is sweet, whether he eat a little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep. Watch this. There's a sore evil, which I have seen under the sun, namely riches kept, watch this, for the owners thereof to their hurt. But those riches perish by evil travail, and he begetteth a son, and there is nothing in his hand. As he came forth of his mother's womb naked, shall he return to go as he came, and shall take nothing of his labor, which he may carry away in his hand. And this also is a sore evil, that in all points as he came, so shall he go. And what profit hath he that hath labored for the wind? All his days also he eateth in darkness, and he hath much sorrow and wrath with his sickness. Behold, which I have seen, it is good and comely for one to eat and to drink and enjoy the good of all his labor that he taketh under the sun all the days of his life, which God giveth him watch this, for it is his portion. Verse 19 and 20. Every man also to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and giveth him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labor, this is the gift of God. For he shall not much remember the days of his life, because God answereth him in the joy of his heart. Now, here's why I wanted you to understand that specific part. Because the way by which he wants you to have abundance in riches is by understanding how to sow. Because I want you to see this. Understanding how to honor him with the first fruits. That's why. The reason I want you to get this is because in Luke 12 and 15 is where the man who had an abundance decided that he was going to build bigger barns. And in his process of building bigger barns, God calls him a fool and says, "You fool, who's going to take this?" But I want you to go to Proverbs chapter 3, verses 9 and 10, because I want you to see this. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 9 and 10. Watch this. It says this. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 9 and 10 says this. He says, honor the Lord with thy substance. Watch this. And with the first fruits of all thine increase. Notice what he's saying. Honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase. Watch verse 10. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty. So you ain't got a problem with you having abundance. Especially when you, watch this, when you do what he's telling you to do with what you already have, he ain't got no problem with you gaining abundance from it. The issue is how you gain that abundance. If you honor him with the first fruits of all of it, he's got zero problem with you having abundance. If you're not honoring him with the first fruits of all of it, you and him fix to have a problem. Because I want you to notice what the rest of that says. In verse 10, he said, so shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. So watch this. If you get abundance and you keep it, it turns old, so you ain't gonna have new coming out. So what you have should keep producing. It should keep producing, because if you keep honoring him with the first, he's gonna keep bringing it in. And as he keeps bringing it in, and you keep honoring him with the first, he's going to keep bringing it in. And as you keep that process going, you tell me how you're supposed to end up with something old. You can't. There's no way for you to have old if you keep honoring him with the first fruits. Because he's going to keep increasing you. And as he keeps increasing you, new wine is going to keep coming. So it becomes a cycle. Why am I telling you that? Because this right here has the addressing of whether or not you're focused on the purpose of what you're doing. Because it's going to lead me to my last point. Give me just a couple extra minutes, because everything that tried to stop me, I got to make sure I get this one. See, in 1 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 9 and 10, it says this. 1 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 9 and 10. It says this, because I need you to get this. It says, so David waxed greater and greater, for the Lord of hosts was with him. Now, don't that sound like the same thing we just read earlier? Don't that sound like the same setup that Joshua had? Don't that sound like the same setup that was going to produce good help? Here's why I need you to get this. It says, so David waxed greater and greater, for the Lord of hosts was with him. Verse 10. These also, watch this, are the chief of the mighty men whom David had, who strengthened themselves with him in his kingdom, and with all Israel to make him king. Watch this. According to the word of the Lord concerning Israel. So notice what that says. These are also the chief of the mighty men whom David had, who strengthened themselves with him. Okay? And this is where I was finna set it off, and this is what I was trying to get to all night. Because are you focused on the purpose of what you are doing? It's time for some of y'all to let some ships sail. It's time for some of y'all to let some ships sail, because you have not been focused on the purpose because of them ships that's been sailing with you. But it's time for you to let them sail on. It's some hardships that you need to let sail on. It's some relationships that you need to let sail on. Some friendships that you need to let sail on. Some fellowships that you need to let sail on. Some situationships that some of y'all have been in. It's time to let them sail on. See, because if you don't let them sail, they're going to keep taking you off your focus. See, and that's what I want you to understand. I had some friendships that I had to evaluate. Pastors. I ain't talking about no worldly people. I'm talking about pastors. Now, I'm not by any means, so don't take anything that I'm finna say about any kind of division or anything like that, because that ain't what this is. I'm explaining to you something that it's some friendships that I've had with pastors over an abundance of years that I had to take a look at over the past 2 to 3 weeks. And in taking a look at those particular friendships, I had to realize it was one-sided. It's been being one-sided. I was still focused on what the purpose was. Still am. But watch this. Here's one thing that ain't going to be the situation. I'm not going to keep being the one that will be there for every single time that they call anytime, but then they not be there for me when I call them. See, I don't have to call on people a lot. So when I do call, my expectation is that I should have a good enough track record that you shouldn't have no problem helping me based upon the number of times that I help you without looking for anything in return. But then if I come to you, see, and this is the thing, the instance that happened was like 2 to 3 years ago, and I had let it ride. But during this time of fire, the Lord was like, okay, I need you to look at that relationship right there. And I was like, huh? I ain't talked to them and I don't know when. And he's like, exactly. He said, and who called who the last time? I was like, well, I did. He said, and if you remember, when you made the call and the time that I told you the list, I told you who to call. And when I told you to call, you called. And what was their response to you? Well, they couldn't help. He said, exactly. He said, and what did you do? I said, I didn't have no problem with it. I just kept going. You still took care of the problem. He said, exactly. He said, so if I took care of the problem without them the last time, and you have been your faithful self the whole time, he said, it's time for a new time. I said, okay. And it's funny. The person called me this week. And the phone didn't ring. And I just happened to have a voicemail. And I was like, oh, so you really was for real about this. I said, okay, I got it. It's time for y'all to let some ships sail. Some relationships, some fellowships, some friendships, some situationships, some hardships. It's time for you to let them sail. 910 Ridgely Road, Suite H, here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. 10 a.m. Saturday morning. Exclusive Ecclesia, round about 10:30ish. On Facebook. If tonight as a whole has not let you know how vital of a message this one's going to be, I don't know what else to tell you. If you can be in the house, be here in the house. If you can't, you're out of state, I get it. Ain't no problem. Just make sure you tune in. Probably better tune in on time, because again, and stay focused, because as you've seen tonight, there's an onslaught after this information here. See, the thing that y'all couldn't see, even though y'all were still able to see the camera going, staying going. So the one screen went down, the phone went down, everything went down, and while everything was going down, two flies done got in here. And any of y'all that know me know I can't stand flies. And they've been buzzing around the whole time. Buzzing up against the light, doing all kinds of stuff. Trying to get me off focus. But I completed everything that's on this piece of paper. I completed the mission and I stayed focused to get it done. So if this don't tell you that everything coming after this message right here, letting you know this is one that's a life changer. I don't know what else to tell you. One thing I do know, I ain't gonna let nothing stop it. I will carry out everything that he's given me to do for this one for sure. 910 Ridgely Road, Suite H, here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 10 a.m. Saturday morning. Exclusive Ecclesia, round about 10:30ish. Tune in. If you have not yet become a part of Exclusive Ecclesia, all you gotta do is send me an inbox. Type in exclusive. Then I'll send you an invite. That's it. It don't cost you nothing. 910 Ridgely Road, Suite H, here at Murfreesboro, Tennessee. 10 a.m. Exclusive Ecclesia, round about 10:30ish. Saturday morning on Facebook. I love you guys. Y'all are the greatest, sticking through everything, staying focused. We have got major, major shifts coming. Because as long as you keep sticking with me, I'm going to keep sticking with him. And I'm going to keep guiding y'all. And everything that's going to transpire is going to be a glorious outpouring. I love you guys. I appreciate you to the highest. Y'all have a blessed rest of the evening. Peace.